Hey everybody, this is Steve with Real Progressives. It's a beautiful Saturday afternoon, and I left my confines of Real Progressives to go out amongst the other people and the other groups. I don't do that very often because I'm so busy trying to run this thing. But I decided to venture out, and what do I see? I see people still trying to throw out that idea that if Bernie said to vote for Hillary, then you've got to vote for Hillary, because that's the only way you could possibly show Bernie that you support his ideas, etc. Well, you know what? I'm not going to sit there and do something stupid. I'm not going to jump off of a bridge. I'm not going to do something that violates who I am just to accommodate this whole fake I support Bernie Sanders better by supporting a friggin' warmonger. Now, I have literally no idea what your motivation is for your political activities and your political mindset. But if you've learned nothing from me, the number one thing that you will understand about my entire worldview is that I don't want my kids dying in one of these wars coming up by any candidate. This is not just a specific to Hillary thing. It wouldn't matter who that person is. I have a son. He's going to be 17 in November. And he's a beautiful kid. He's a wonderful boy. But he's got some problems. He's overshadowed by two beautiful sisters who are geniuses, who are 4.25 kids, who are always excelling in everything that they do. But he is oftentimes an afterthought. And so what is his take? Dad, I think I'm going to go into the military. And I'm like, son, is there nothing we can do to maybe change your mind to get you to do something else? And he's like, I don't know what else I can do. There's no other real apprenticeship programs out there. There's no real pathway to getting college taken care of or doing anything without going that route. And I didn't have the grades that my sisters had and so forth. So I guess I have to go into the military, Dad, don't I? And I'm sitting there and I'm saying to myself, I don't know what to do. I don't have the money to friggin' do it. I'm still drowning in my own student debt of $500 a month. You know? What do I do with my son? Divorce. Divorce is about purged my entire life savings completely. So how do I get my son to not be in the military? How do I keep him away from it? What kind of apprenticeships could I get him into, right? So all that is not really the point. The point is that that's what drives me, is knowing what my circumstances are. Selfish, there you go, right there, selfish. I don't want my son dying. Then you go to the next tier. I don't want to see any of your kids dying either. And worse yet, and this is probably the most important, I don't want to see any of those people who are not combatants, who are not in the military, who are not in power structures, who are in poverty, deep poverty, and they're running from friggin' drone bombs all over the place. And you see little kids sitting there with a dead stare, completely caked in mud and caked in blood from our bombs. I don't want that on my conscience. And none of this has anything to do with Hillary yet. That is who I am. That is what I am. I am anti-war to the extreme. Now, do I know that there are times when we may have to put our military into some role? Boy, oh boy, I bet it's few and far between that we really have to do that, right? I bet it's very, very few and far between that we ever have to do that. Yet, for the last 20 years, well, hell, since Bush, when we did the first Iraq war, we've pretty much been at perpetual war ever since. Now, I know we have a longer history of being at war, but just in my adult life, almost my entire adult life, we have been at war in some way, shape, or form. Bosnia, you name it. So what I want in a president is someone that's going to say, no more wars. Not unless we absolutely have to do it. And Hillary is not that candidate. Hillary is all too willing to go out there and friggin' create a political vacuum by knocking out Gaddafi. She's all too willing to get the CIA meddling in Honduras. She's all too willing to inflict a no-fly zone in Syria that will put us at odds with China and Russia and many others. She's completely the opposite of what I can physically and mentally wrap my head around supporting. So imagine my surprise when yet again, things I've known all this time, that there were cowardly so-called Bernie supporters with no pulse, no understanding of issues, that think that somehow or another they are representing the issues by somehow or another supporting Hillary. Blew my mind. I mean, blew my mind. And watching this guy, and I'm not going to mention his names, you'll probably know who I'm talking about without even saying it. But watching him literally calling people effing idiots and all this stuff because they're not supporting Hillary. And this guy makes a lot of people's profile pictures say things. And then he had the nerve to come at me. Now, mind you, I'm ready to friggin' break out the samurai sword and slice and dice. But he came out and said, oh, well, I guess you're guilty of war too then because you pay taxes. And I'm like, you dumb man. You dummy. You ready to do this economics discussion with me? Like, seriously, pick him over there, pick her over there. You want to take me on economic-wise? Are you really ready to take this on? You're not. I assure you you're not. Anybody that sits there, well, your tax dollars pay for this stuff, bam! That's what I wanted to do to him. Because it was so shameful, so embarrassing, that he's sitting there sheepdogging people to Hillary. And he thinks he knows what he's talking about. And he's running around making your profile picture say X, Y, and Z. But in reality, he's a dummy. He doesn't know anything about what he's saying. He's just running around flapping gums saying things. And that's the kind of thing that's going to create a problem for our movement. It's not just going to create a problem for our movement. Let's just say we let the movement die. I won't, but let's say we did. Our kids are going to pay for these kind of bullshit moves. These sheepdogs, they got blood on their hands, folks. Every death, every single death is theirs to own. They are what I call, and will say over and over again, a murderer by proxy. They think that their vote is somehow or another sterile, that they're just doing the next right thing. But in reality, you own it, you strap it on. You are a murderer by proxy. Strap it on, own it, get used to it. You are a murderer by proxy. By proxy, meaning you're using someone else to do your killing. In that case, you're allowing Hillary to do it, and guess what? You're not helping anybody, because as soon as she gets coronated, you're sheepdogging. All it's going to do, you're going to have to either A, continue to defend her, or B, be cast aside as a right-wing conspirator. That's right. You don't get any brownie points for sheepdogging over there. The minute she sends us to war, and you sit there and go, well, guys, we got to support Hillary, because Hillary, she's what, man? She's a murderer? Uh-huh. That's it. And you voted for her? Uh-huh. You're a murderer too. Strap it on, John Wayne Gacy. That's right, Genghis Khan. That's right, Hitler, Stalin. That's right. You don't see it. They don't publicize it. They don't talk about it. But people are dying by the massive amounts of death. Innocent people dying every day on the strapped-on bomb that says, yay, here's my freedom. We are terrorist makers like Holly Hobby. We got our own little Holly Hobby oven. We put in there, we drop a bomb, out comes terrorists. And these people, these vote blue sycophants out there sheepdogging over to Hillary, murderers. That's right. Stack full murderer. You are a murderer. I'll say it again. Murderer, murderer, murderer. I'm not pulling any punches anymore. This goes back to my stream the other night. At what point in time do you really believe the rhetoric you're saying? At what point in time do you stand and say, I really mean this? I am anti-war and I'm done making excuses for war. At what point in time do you really mean that? Tell me, folks, at what time do you mean you are anti-war? Show me, don't tell me. Prove to me that you're anti-war. Stand against warmongers. Do not allow this stuff to go unchecked, folks. People are dying because you won't speak out, because you won't upset the apple cart. And I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to whoever you. Okay? And I'm telling you right now, There is no such thing as a passive defensive vote. There is no such thing. Your vote has consequences. And you want to talk about big bad Trump? I'm not voting for Trump. But do me a favor, I'll be waiting. I got plenty of time on my hands. Show me the laundry list of people that he's killed or the wars he's started or the coups he's responsible for. When you're done with that, I can show you Hillary's. I have it right here. Boom. Rattle it off. Bam, bam, bam. Anytime you want to pull that crap out, let's bring it. I'm not voting for Trump. I will never support Trump. But anytime you lie, and it is a lie, anytime you lie and say that Hillary is the lesser of two evils, you have sold your soul and you are no longer a valid commentator. You no longer have a valid point of view. You have forsaken all sense of validity. Your opinion is now invalid. Why do I say that? Because people are going to die verifiably. Past performance is definitely an indicator of future performance. Her constant courting of the Bob Kagans of the world, of the Henry Kissingers of the world, should tell us that she is planning to do the very same things, and she would love to break the glass ceiling and take us to war. It's all part of her plan. It's all part of her global foreign policy. It is how she ran it as Secretary of State. Obama, who I think is a warmonger too, had to friggin' say, down, Simba. He had to calm Hillary. She was that much of a warmonger. So, are you really going to continue making excuses for Hillary or for the people that say they're going to defend her? Yeah, I love Bernie Sanders, but I strongly disagree with him on this issue. I'll probably one day like Robert Reich again, but right now I strongly disagree with him. There's a lot of people who are trying to pass this off as the pragmatic right decision. And I'm telling you right now, the only pragmatic right decision is to vote your values and support Jill Stein. It's literally the only thing that makes sense right now for a progressive. Otherwise, you too, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. If you've heard me speak, you can no longer say you didn't know any better. You now know that you're a murderer by proxy if you vote for her. The blood will be on your hands. Why is it that we can say that with clear conscience? Because we have a track record of repetitive military actions, choices to go into the military zone. She has repeatedly chosen, to take the military route. She has repeatedly refused to seek peace. Jimmy Carter said, this is somebody who didn't even bother her entire time as Secretary of State, did not even bother working for peace. What kind of president do you think she would make? And I am haunted. If you're not haunted by this, then I worry about you. But the idea of, we came, we saw, he died. That haunts me at night. The cavalier attitude she has about life. And let's be fair, we don't send the wealthy to war. We send the poor to war. We don't go killing the rich people. We go killing these poor slobs that are friggin' living in mud huts, that don't even have food. They're ravaged by a constant war, and we're in there helping out, bombing the living shit out of them, bombing them to hell and back. That cannot be an acceptable foreign policy for a real progressive. You cannot justify that, and I won't let you. I will follow you around and badger you and call you a warmonger and call you a murderer. I am not letting you off the hook. No matter whether you tell me Bernie told you to do it or not. I don't care if Bernie told you to do it or not. None of Bernie's policies represent what Hillary's saying. Not one of them. Free student tuition to all is not the same thing as freaking this bullshit Calvinism she's putting forth. Bernie Sanders' foreign policy was not the same shit that Hillary is putting forth. Bernie Sanders' approach to health care is not the same thing that Hillary's putting forth. None of the things that Hillary stands for are the things that Bernie stands for. None of them. And I'm telling you right now, I've said it a million times and I'm going to keep saying it. You have already seen how the vote blues will shut you down if you try to criticize Hillary. The minute you open your mouth and say anything negative about her, you will be bombarded and flooded with low information, high-dullared vote blue sycophants chasing you around, telling you, you can't say anything about Hillary. Don't say anything about Hillary. What do you want, Trump? Do you want Trump? And it's up to you to have an answer for the hope that lies within and fight back. Do not let them bowl you over. Because nothing Bernie stood for is in the person of Hillary Clinton. That's why we supported Bernie. It was a clear choice, and they stole it from us. So now the next man or woman up is Jill Stein. Get on board, folks. We need your help. We need your help. And we need to block this, because I'm telling you right now, those same dull-witted vote blue sycophants will stand in the way of every single knuckleheaded thing Donald Trump would say. Even in 531, they're polling and showing that the Senate is ready to flip for the Democrats. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing anymore. I mean, I'd like to believe it's a good thing, but man, oh man, you can't fight against a Democrat once they're in, and they're acting like Republicans. So what's the diff? What's the diff? We got to really, really, really work on getting progressives in office at every level. That's what I hope our revolution does. I really, truly hope our revolution serves that role. I really hope that it doesn't sheepdog people in to supporting Hillary. And if it does, I hope people resist the urge. I hope you don't forget that you are a murderer by proxy if you support Hillary. You're a murderer by proxy. Keep saying it. It's true. Anyway, with this, remember, we got to fight for the voiceless. We got to fight for those that don't have any representation. Those people that are going to die in these small third world countries where she's just going to bomb the hell out of them. We got to fight for them as much as